Słuchajcie, skoro Experience the Future i skoro mieliście zacząć dzisiejszego wystąpienia, to przed nami teraz godzina po angielsku, a na początek Aga Pinkowska z Automation House, która zaraz tutaj wkroczy na scenę i ze swoimi gośćmi przejmie tęże, żeby opowiadać o tym, jak skutecznie i sprawnie używać narzędzi przyszłości już dziś. Zapraszamy, Aga.
So, as you probably already know, at 22 Ventures, we use quite a lot of different tools. And some of them allow us to be in the future, but today. And everything that we've got, almost everything, is based on two tools. Starting from recruitment, onboarding, like pipeline management, almost everything. And those two tools are ClickUp and Make. And for those of you who may never heard of them before today, let me just explain. So what is ClickUp? ClickUp is mainly task management tool, project management. It's chaos killer, to be honest, and it's time saver. And Make, on the other hand, it's a connector. So Make makes other tools talk to each other. And actually with Make, you can automate almost anything you can dream of. So today we will talk about tools of the future. And later in the afternoon, there will be that debate, machine versus human, or maybe human versus machine. So let me share my opinion on this topic right now. I think that behind every machine, behind every tool of the future, there are people of the future. And please welcome one of them, Mats Nielsen, who leads partnerships at ClickUp. Mats, it's a real pleasure to host you in Warsaw and to see you in person.
Thank you.
All right, so I said that behind every tool of the future, there are people of the future. And let me start with a short story. You don't know that story, Mats, but it's for me, it's really quite important. It will be a story about people. So, February 24th, 2022, early in the morning, Russia attacked Ukraine. And we knew that in next 24 hours, 48 hours, we are going to need huge logistical support in Poland. And I was involved in help locally very quickly. And everything was organized in ClickUp, all the action plan, resource management, everything. But I had a problem, huge problem that I couldn't solve. And I was sitting, sat up until 2 a.m. I didn't solve it. And before I went to sleep, I wrote to help@clickup.com, saying what I need and asking for help. And I went to sleep. And the next day in the morning, I had two messages in my mailbox. The first one was Aga, we are here with you. We are calling the meeting right away. We'll find a solution for you. After 3 hours, the next email with ready solution that people from ClickUp made for me, and it was night in the US that time, so they were working in the night. They called the meeting, and they prepared this for me, including the video and explaining how it works. And why I'm telling you this story? Because ClickUp is all about procedures, processes, organization, and all this kind of stuff. And everything that happened during that night just broke probably half of the rules, the internal rules that people at ClickUp have. They didn't follow any procedure. They probably didn't ask any manager if they can do it. And why I'm telling that? Because I think that, like I said at the beginning, I think that behind every tool of the future, there are people of the future. And who are people of the future? Those are people who can adapt. Those are people who can, just break rules, break policies to adapt to the situation. They do it to be ready for tomorrow, to be ready for the future, and they also create future. So, Mats, I have you didn't know this story. I shared it with you. No, it's All right, so I have a question for you right now. Well, at ClickUp, you probably talk about future like every day because you created that future. And I wanted to ask you, what do you understand by the term tool of the future? I assume ClickUp is one, and could you tell me why?
Yeah, absolutely. So ultimately, when we talk about tools of the future, we're really talking about solutions that don't really just react to current needs, but anticipate where work is heading. And it's about empowering users to do more, faster, and with less friction. So at ClickUp, we see the future of work as highly flexible, deeply integrated, and centered around collaboration across functions and locations. The days of siloed work and disconnected apps and rigid workflows, they're numbered. So is ClickUp a tool of the future? Well, absolutely. We believe that by providing an all-in-one platform where teams can manage everything from tasks to docs to goals and even automate processes, we're not just making work easier, we're future-proofing it. And the ability to customize workflows to fit specific needs today while adapting to future challenges is crucial. And that's where ClickUp really excels.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that. Well, nowadays there's a lot of talk about flexibility. And we've got millennials that are, sometimes terrified by Gen Z entering the market because they had those standards, they felt comfortable in those standards. And then young people are coming and, let's say, they are tearing these standards to the ground. And this is the future. And actually, this is the future that I really like. And I wanted to ask you, what is the ClickUp response to that?
Well, I'm not an official speaker for ClickUp on that, but it is a very interesting point. The generational shift happening in the workspace, it is real. And I think it's less about tearing down standards and more about adapting to an evolving expectation of what work should look like. Gen Z is entering the workplace with demands of flexibility, autonomy, and ultimately meaningful collaboration. ClickUp is perfectly positioned to respond to that shift. Our platform isn't designed just one way of working in mind, but it's highly customizable, allowing teams to create workflows that work for them, whether they're more traditional or completely breaking the mold. Millennials tend to want some more structure. Gen Zs, they might thrive on chaos and flexibility. The beauty of ClickUp is that it allows both to coexist, with everyone working with the same platform, but tailoring it ultimately to their own styles. Also with features like async communication, native document collaboration, and real-time editing, ClickUp is enabling a flexible, remote-first environment that both millennials and Gen Zs can thrive in. So we're not only keeping up with the future, we're shaping it by making our tool flexible and having collaboration at the core of how we get work done.
Yeah, so actually the best way to predict the future is to create one, right?
That's correct.
All right, ClickUp is developing like crazy. Sometimes I really, and it's honest, I really feel like I'm going for a lunch and I come back and there is a new feature. And could you share with us maybe some secrets or something? What ace do you have in your sleeves? Or what are you introducing right now to the market? We will not tell anyone.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, it does feel that way sometimes, absolutely. We're constantly innovating because the needs of the modern work are evolving at such a fast pace. Now, we have launched ultimately 2 new products very recently, which is ClickUp Brain, which is our AI, or our advanced AI solution, and ultimately we've also just come out with Chat. And I know, Aga, you've been asking for access to Chat, and most people are actually still on the waiting list. So, for example, with AI, we've embedded it directly into the platform to help users automate repetitive tasks, draft content, and make data-driven decisions faster. Imagine having an AI assistant that can write, summarize, and even suggest workflow optimizations based on the tasks that you're doing. It's like having a superpower to speed up the mundane and let teams focus on the work that really matters. Additionally, we're heavily focusing on integrations and expanding our ecosystem. We know that work doesn't happen in just one app, so by continuing to integrate with other tools, whether it be Google, Salesforce, or Microsoft, we're making sure that ClickUp becomes the hub of all work, rather than just another tool in the stack.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, all right. As we are really happy that we are like a part of this process, and that we are using ClickUp in all our 22 Ventures companies. So thank you very much for sharing your vision of the future, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now imagine the future. I mean, maybe it's your future, it's our reality. Imagine all your tasks organized perfectly in ClickUp, all your wiki in ClickUp, all your financial database, all your financial information in your financial database, I don't know, in invoicing program or something. Imagine all your transcription from meetings, also in your meeting database. And you fire up Ion, and you just talk to Ion and give him some tasks to do for you. To make all this happen, we need all those tools to talk to each other. To make this happen, we need Make. Daniel, welcome on the stage. Stage is yours. This is Daniel from Make Solution Architect.
Hi guys. So, I will briefly tell you about Make, what we do, and then we will look at a live but pre-recorded demo, unfortunately. So let's go. We have just 15 minutes, so we have to be quick. So, this clicker doesn't click. Now it clicks. Okay. So Make, what is it? So Make is a visual automation platform which basically allows you to take your existing business process, convert it to a diagram of some sort, and then the diagram itself, that's the automation which you can run regularly. Okay, so here on the right-hand side, we have a very simple automation which involves Typeform, Segment, Salesforce, and Marketo, and we basically capture Typeform submissions, then we track them via Segment, then we create new lead record, and we add the lead to a list in Marketo, for example. And this is just a random automation which we have decided to build. And you are basically adding these steps, these modules into the scenario to reflect your business process. And these business processes, they can be very simple like this, or they can have 50 steps, 100 steps, conditional executions, etc., etc. So the beauty of Make is that you can build very simple scenarios, but on the other hand, you can build very complex scenarios, and that's where we really excel. So all in all, if you have to code very complex scenarios, it's going to take you days and maybe weeks or months. But with Make, we believe it's at least 6 times faster, probably 10 times. Guys from Automation House, you tell me how much faster it is. All right. So Make is a company in a nutshell. So we are not that small anymore. We have 300 people working for us. We have collected over 1 million users worldwide. We are present in 180 countries, which is probably no surprise because we are an online platform and pretty much anyone can sign up. We have 2,000 connectors ready out of the box. Some of you may know that we are part of the Celonis Group, which is our mother company from Germany, leader in process mining. Some of our big customers consist of Spotify, Lionsgate, YML, etc. And the best part, users love us. So if you go to our review sites which are independent, you will see that Make scores high consistently no matter where you go. Because let me tell you, it's very addictive. Don't try it on Monday, do it maybe Friday or on weekend because you will burn a whole week with it. Okay, so basic question, why to automate? Well, it's not that hard, right? Some of the points, they are super obvious, like save time, sure. Minimize mistake, sure. But when you automate, you have to think about your business process. You have to standardize it, because if it's not standard, you can't automate it. You have to take care of edge cases, or you have to be ready for them. You have to be ready for errors. And this is the hidden benefit of automation, right? Because you think about how you do your business. And by automating, of course, you are speeding up your processes after you standardize them. So overall, the automation allows you to basically get rid of things which are boring and which don't generate that much value, and you can focus on what matters, on business strategy, on testing things, on making deals and stuff like that. It's not about copying, pasting, that doesn't really bring that much value. You should not be doing that. You should automate these steps. So where does Make fit? So based on our research, average company probably uses 50 to 70 apps. And let's face it, some of these apps, they need to talk to each other, right? Maybe not all of the apps need to talk with each other, but some do. So you can have, Salesforce, NetSuite, Jira, and they need to send data from one to another, maybe from Jira to Greenhouse, then from Greenhouse to Excel, and then from Excel to ClickUp. Well, you can use Make for that. And now it's you, it's the user who is building these automations. And some users, they have will and skill. Some users, they have just the skill. Some users, they have will and not the skill. So for users who don't want to build it themselves, we have our friends here at Automation House who can build the automations for them, okay? So don't feel like pressure that it has to be always you. No, like we have partners like Automation House who are building these automation scenarios. I mentioned that we have 2,000 apps available. So, think about the apps which you've seen, Salesforce, Excel, Facebook lead ads, Google apps, etc. You can essentially connect pretty much anything which is an API, because even if we don't have an app yet, there is a generic connector which can make it happen. Okay? And because we have so many apps, the use cases are not specific to just one department or one team. It can be virtually anybody, right? Anybody using that app can automate. So we are talking about departments like marketing, finance, operations, IT, HR, whatever department you have in your company, as long as they are using one of these apps we support, they are probably candidates for automation. All right, so enough talking, and let's look at a demo. So our problem is very simple. We will want to capture new closed-won opportunities from Salesforce, and we will want to create new sales orders in NetSuite. Is here anyone using NetSuite? Hands up? No. Not a big deal. At the end of the day, it's just apps who need to talk to each other, okay? The problem with NetSuite is that the API is horrible to use, it's super slow, it's XML-based, and it's not very dev-friendly. So any chance to make it less painful is always welcomed by NetSuite operators and developers, and Meg can do it. So I'm gonna play a video and I'm gonna be commenting in real time as it plays. So let's go. Hopefully I will make it. So here we go. It's 1 minute 40. So here it's my opportunity in Salesforce, and of course we are selling software. And we are selling software by number of seats, and each seat or each license, it has a price of 10. So this opportunity is selling 200 licenses for 10, so it should be 2,000 when the sales order is created in NetSuite in the ERP, right? And the moment I flip this opportunity to closed won, it needs to immediately go to Salesforce for the sales order to be created, and for that, of course, we are gonna use Make. So let me switch the opportunity to closed won. So the deal is closed, it's good, and now we need to get some money for it. So now Make is gonna pick up this event, and it's gonna go and create the sales order through this automation which I have built in NetSuite. NetSuite is not the fastest, and now it's finished, and also we are gonna get a Slack notification with the link to the sales order in NetSuite, so we don't have to go and look for it manually. So if I open Slack, here is the notification saying, hey, new sales order created in NetSuite. So I'm just gonna go and click it, and then we can validate that all the important information post-transferred from Salesforce to NetSuite. So when we look at the line items, we can see it's the license for software, we can see the quantity is 200. Here we can see the rate is 10, so overall 2,000, and everything is matching perfectly, right? And it's all good. So that was one example of relatively simple automation, which took me about 40 minutes to build, something like this, not a rocket science. But now, let's also talk about how you actually build these scenarios. So let's pretend we did not have the Slack step in the scenario, and we need to add it. And essentially, that's the way of adding those steps in the scenario, what I'm about to show you. So now we are missing the step with Slack, and we need to go and add it so that notification comes. So let's look at how it's done. So here in the scenario builder, I'm simply gonna look for Slack app, which is here ready for me, and I'm gonna select the action which I want to execute, so it's gonna be create a message. So I'm gonna just drag and drop it as next step into the scenario, and now I'm gonna open the module, configure it, I'm gonna decide what channel it is. Is it private, is it public? In my case, it's a public demo channel, so I'm gonna select this demo v2, and then I need to compile the message. So for that, I'm gonna borrow that previous message, which I'm just gonna paste. But now I need to make it dynamic because every new sales order has a new ID, right? So this part, it needs to come dynamically for each execution. So I'm literally gonna get the output of this module and I'm gonna drag and drop it into there to make it dynamic. So next time I get a new sales order, it's gonna be clickable and it's gonna lead me to that new sales order. And now the step is edit, but it doesn't end here, right? As I said, the scenarios can get very complex. So you can add, routes and you can add subroutes and subroutes of subroutes. And it can get very complex very fast to exactly mirror your business needs, right? This is the beauty of what I was talking about. And once you are done with that route, you can copy it and paste it and create another route from it to make it even more complex. So, now it's not that simple anymore if you keep adding these steps and building this complexity. And as I said, it's kind of like a game, it's quite addictive. That's why I work for Make, by the way. So don't try this on Monday, leave it for Friday or for the weekend. And basically, this is how you build these scenarios. Every single step, every module has certain configuration, and you literally go as your business process evolves, and you keep adding those steps until you are happy with the outcome. All right, not that hard, is it? Or, it always looks easier on the slides, right? I admit. Now, we have heard about ClickUp, etc. But we do have automations for ClickUp available as well. But if there is one thing to remember from the slides, what is Make? It's Swiss Army knife for your automations. This is the one thing to take home with you. If you think about automation, use Make. It's gonna work for you. Now, seriously, guys, if you wanna talk, we have a booth here in the technology room. So, well, it's not a booth, it's a chair. So you can catch us and we can talk. Of course, you can join Automation House in the discussion as well, if it's more complex. And that's really it. Thank you.
Thank you for inspiring presentation. So, guys, as Daniel said, if you want to talk about future scenarios that we can build for you, please come to visit our tech zone. There are our automation specialists, or you can just catch anyone with nice t-shirts like mine, or Daniel or Mats, and we'll be happy to help you. And actually, there is one last thing that I noticed. That we are all talking right now about processes, about operational excellence, all this stuff. And I realized that, lately I was checking core values of ClickUp. I didn't find the core values of Make, but I can see what you guys doing. And I like the previous core values of ClickUp a little bit more, because one of the most important ones was normal fucking sucks, which I really liked, and the unofficial one was what was it? Buzz, get shit done and have fun. So I think they're quite nice core values. Anyway, they are all very, very similar to our core values of all companies in 22 Ventures. We've got growth mindset, we've got operational excellence, we've got accountability and transparency. All right, thank you guys very much, and have a nice the rest of the day.